Okay, folks, it's turn 16. It's actually been less than 8 hours since the last turn. Things are rolling. So, I think I forgot to site search with Panlong actually last turn, so we're doing that now. We've got Juyi site searching up there, just a bunch of site searching going on. I'm not going to go through all of it, but we also have the elves over here. We're moving our scouts through elvish territory because I've been in contact with Agartha, and Agartha appears to be prepared to go in against the elves. So, or will be prepared to go against the elves in a few turns. So, we're gonna join with him, and we're gonna execute a quick gang up and see what damage we can do. Also, incidentally, this will possibly help ease tensions with Ulm. I was thinking, like I said, I was thinking about fighting Ulm, but you know what? If I can get a buddy to help me take out the elves, that'll be fine, because the elves are also or these aren't elves really, they're mostly humans at this point, but Midgard, anyway, is really dangerous in the late game. They still have some elves, not as many, but they also have Galdermen, and Galdermen are incredibly potent mages. I mean, for one thing, they're 4 paths for only 190 gold and 2 recruitment points. For another thing, they regenerate, and for a third thing, they have a really good chance to have some combination of blood, death, and earth, as well as all being Air 2. So they're quite powerful, and 25% of them are Air 3. Actually, slightly more than 25% are Air 3 or possibly even Air 4. 25% are Air 3, and then fractions of them are Earth 2, Death 2, or Blood 2. They just all have really good paths, and 25% of them have Nature, so they can pop Nature into their Sabbaths, and have everybody be regenerating at 20%, so they can even do limited Turbo Communion stuff. So I'd like to take them out early, is my point. We're going to be at Alteration 4 in a couple of turns here. That will give me Swarm for my Nature Mages. I already have Earth Meld. I would like to go down and get some other Earth spells, potentially Air spells, but I don't think I'm going to have time for much besides this. We're planning on going in about 4 or 5 turns. I need to contact the other player and make sure that we're all going in at the same time. A little bit more alteration wouldn't hurt, more conjuration, sorry, wouldn't hurt me, certainly. And then beyond that, I think I'm pretty much good. Thaumaturgy down to level 4 would definitely help for the remote site searching spells, but that will be for later. For now, alteration will be fine. Over here, I'm focusing on recruiting Ancestor Smiths and Spirit Masters. Those are the 2 mage types that I'm mostly focused on getting. Ancestor Guides, secondary at the moment, not using a whole lot of air. Le Gong is going to go through here searching. Like I said, I have 4 or 5 turns. Ford Prefect can move 2 provinces in 1 turn. So I'm going to have him patrolling here for another turn. Then I'm going to move him back to Tianqi and pick up some more troops. Magnus's Palisade will be done in 1 turn. I need to actually get a mage there. Yeah, why don't you go down there so you can build the accoutrements. And that should be the plan. Should be going in against the elves around turn 20-21, something like that. And until then, fine with just kind of hanging out at the moment. Building forts, guarding my border, making sure Ulm and I don't tip over into war. And we'll see what we get. So, thanks for watching. I'll see y'all in turn 17. I know this one was short, but more good stuff will be coming up soonish. I don't think I have any good ritual spells I can cast. Do I? I have Call of the Winds. Call of the Winds is a decent spell. I can't summon Yetis because I only have 1 water, so oh well. See you next time. Okay, folks, turn 17. So, I've made a non-aggression pact with Ulm. You can see we were kind of in a face-off here. Ulm had pulled all his troops into this fort, which actually would have let me raid him pretty effectively, I think, if I had wanted to, but we are going to be busy. My troops are trickling back across the nation towards Vanheim. I'm recruiting some barbarian heavy horsemen and some mages over here. This fort will be a fort in 1 turn. Over here we're not building anything just because we're a little short on the funds. So much fun to have the funds. Over here we're still recruiting a few ancestor vessels and doubling up on mages. Now I'll tell you what, actually, I'm going to cancel one of those guys so that I can get a 4th ancestor vessel. And all those ancestor vessels are going to join up with Ford... Oh, I can't get a 4th ancestor vessel. Never mind me. I'll just get 3 barbarian heavy horsemen then. So all those guys are going to join up with Ford Prefect. So he'll have a total of 7 ancestor vessels. Which isn't that much, but it's some. And we've got Li Gong over here zipping across to Setica. Now, I don't know how quickly Agartha is going to be lined up for their attack on Midgard. So we'll have to see that. It does look like Midgard's armies are actually deployed over in that direction. At least he's got his Einherrs and Herdmen there. I have eyes on most of his provinces near me. Not his capital, though. So he may have some troops available right now. So this guy, he's going to sneak right over there, and he can sneak right over there. You can sneak there, you can sneak there. I have pretty good coverage of Midgard. And of course, Midgard's hemmed in by Satis and Patala. And more Satis down there. Midgard is actually wrapped by Satis a little bit, or is wrapping, rather. So what I think is going to be the way to go here is I'm going to have to hit through these two provinces, which means I only have 2 targets to start with, unfortunately. So the goal is going to be Ford Prefect. He's going to need to move through Shadowglade in order to get into a position. Ford Prefect is going to lead his troops down to Strongdale and hit Frosted Peaks. Le Gong here is going to go through Northia, pick up the cavalry that Northia has been recruiting to reinforce his group, and hit Wick. And then we're just going to move as fast as possible to try and cut off as many of Vanheim's provinces as possible and isolate him in his forts. We're not necessarily going to try to storm the forts immediately, because we don't really have the manpower for that. And when it comes time for that, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to recruit a hell of a lot of footmen. Just regular-ass footmen. He doesn't have great archers, if I recall correctly, and Vanheim doesn't normally recruit a lot of archers. He does have archers available with short bows, but I don't think he's going to recruit a ton of them. And his Herdmen don't actually have javelins. So the only missile attacks he's got come from Huskarls, his cheaper infantry, and from these archers. So I think I may be able to risk recruiting the slightly lower resource pike footmen, which have the long weapon so they can repel attacks pretty effectively. In terms of melee combat, these guys are okay. I mean, they do a lot of piercing damage with a long weapon that can repel. The problem is just they're very, very vulnerable to arrows. But I think I may end up recruiting pike footmen as we go along here. Barbarian Heavy Horse are just so good, though. The only thing that they don't have that infantry do in terms of Tianchi is chaff potential. You know, siege chaff, essentially. I could also mass a bunch of archers of my own and throw down Wind Guide, because I do have a couple of air mages. I would have to research in... where is Wind Guide, anyway? Isn't Wind Guide in... Oh, it's Alteration. Yeah, I'm already researching that. So that's absolutely something I could do. That is actually worth thinking about, especially because my Barbarian Heavy Horse also have composite bows. So I could potentially reinforce them with a few lines of archers. So I'll tell you what, because over here I've got 23 resources remaining. Archers are 12 resources each. If I cut down on the Barbarian Heavy Horse and one of them, I could get 6 archers over there, and then just one more cavalry back here. Okay, let's try that. Let's try massing up a few archers to reinforce our cav, and see how that gets on for us. So, that's turn 17. Researching Alteration. 2 more turns to Alteration 4. Like I said, I believe the attack will be going in around turn 20 or 21, so that should be enough time to build up some decent forces to invade Midgard. And, in the meantime, I've got a couple mages still wandering around site searching. This guy is actually another heir too, but Panlong can do the duties because he's pretty tough to kill. Much tougher than Shun, being a decrepit old man. Le Gong is moving up to site search. He Bo is going to site search here. Wassen is just kind of standing here twiddling his thumbs, like not really knowing what to do. We're going to filter these scouts back down into Man a little bit further. Okay, I'll see y'all in turn 18. Okay, folks, it's turn 18. Now, I did have a negative event this turn. I was besieged by a Troll King in Gol Amrod. So a Troll King at 18 trolls. That's a very, very significant force, to be honest. Trolls are tough to deal with. And in particular, my cavalry my cavalry can certainly fight trolls, but they're liable to take a significant amount of damage in the process, because one hit from a troll will probably kill a cavalryman, and trolls have enough HP and protection to survive the lance charge very, very effectively, so this is going to be a little bit of an issue. And of course, then we have this Troll King, who is a bigger, badder troll, essentially. One saving grace is that the trolls have very low defense skill, so they're liable to take hits very, very quickly. But right now, Gol Amrod is besieged, so I can't make anything here. And I also can't get my, my guys out. Now, in 3 turns, allegedly, is when we were, Agartha and I were going to be going into, Midgard. Now, Midgard doesn't seem to have any armies near me, which is good. I have lots of scouts in Midgard, which is better. Actually, this guy should go down here so that you can be on that fort. There might be an army on that fort. And he's got plenty of Galdermen scattered around. I think sight searching, probably. I don't know how far he extends, but that is Agartha. So that's the person that I'm going in with on this job. We have Patala down here. I've been talking with Patala a little bit. And Satis, of course, down this way as well. In terms of where I want to go and what troops I want to go places with, Ford Prefect here has about 40 Barbarian Heavy Horse. They could probably take on those trolls with their lance charges and bows and all that. I could use him to clear the trolls, or I could use Yi Ti to clear the trolls. Yi Ti has 24 cavalry. Less, but might still be enough, particularly if I can add in a couple more here. Well, I could add one more anyway. My mages are a little bit trapped as well. We've got Shun. Shun can't really cast a lot of stuff. He can throw Phantasmal Warriors, he can Mist Form himself. Doesn't really have any good blesses he can drop. But he can call Ancestors and summon lesser air elementals, so I suppose those could be useful. But we're drawing troops away from the border, is the main thing here. We actually, hilariously, in Gol Amrod, we also got 1,000 extra gold, which is really nice. And then, of course, the Gol Amrod was immediately besieged. And we found 2 magic sites. We found a Starlit Pond in Latian, so that's an Astral Pearl. And we found a Stone Circle, so that's a Nature Gem and a Woodhenge Druid recruitment site. So, gem income just starting to pick up slowly. 1, 2, 3, 6, 8 gems per turn on turn 18. Not fantastic, but could be worse. You know, could always be worse. Zhu Yi, who's going to search here for level 2 Nature and Astral sites. And Panlong, of course, is searching in Gold Mountains. In terms of research, we're heading down towards Alteration 5. Alteration 5 will give me Iron Warriors, which is a great little buff to drop on my cavalry, because it will make them very, very tough. Now, it'll make them vulnerable to shock damage, but, you know, they're already going to be killed if they're hit by lightning bolts. So being vulnerable to shock damage doesn't really hurt them much. And Alteration level 5 will also give me Maws of the Earth and Wooden Warriors. So Wooden Warriors is actually probably a better overall buff than Iron Warriors, just because it has an area of effect and can hit up to 10 people at a time. Won't give them as much of a bonus to prot, but even so, even going up to 10 nat prot on these guys, you know, they have 15 armor. Adding in 10 nat prot could push their total protection up to 20 or higher. The reason Iron Warriors in particular might be useful is because with Iron Warriors, when you're talking about these Einheirs hit really hard, especially when they berserk. So you can see they have Berserker +5, so their axe will go up to 25 slashing damage. Against Prot 21, that's enough to do serious damage, 23 and 25 here. Against Prot, say, 27 or 28, which is what Iron Warriors will end up giving my cavalry, those attacks still won't cause a lot of damage. And of course, the Einheirs will also push themselves up to Prot 19 or so when they berserk. So Einheirs are extremely dangerous. But I think I can beat them with the cavalry, as long as I kind of maintain my cool. Le Gong here. He's got 24 horse. I do need to clear off those trolls is the thing. I really do. So I'll tell you what. I think I am going to do that. That'll take... So these 2 forces will clear off the trolls. Ford Prefect is going to wait one more turn, pick up another load of cavalry plus some mages. and then he's going to move. So one more turn here, so that'll be turn 19, turn 20, turn 21, turn 22, he'll be ready to attack. Meanwhile, we have cavalry and archers being recruited here. So 2 more turns of that. Right now I have 13 units in garrison. I'm recruiting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 per turn. So that'll be about 40 units with some Ancestor Smiths to back them up. And what I can also do is I can recruit a Khan down here. That'll be 2 turns, though. Yeah, because Khans require 2 commander points. Damn. Damnation. I can move Celerim over there. So he'll show up in Northia just in time to pick up those troops and launch the attack into Wick. And from there, my troops will, once they've freed Gol Amrod, will collapse onto Tianqi, and will be prepared to fight there. Actually, I've got 5 cavalry and some mages, a couple of mages in there. Ancestor Spirits might be good to hold off the ghosts, the trolls, rather. And I've got Le Gong here. He needs to Sight Search. I'm not going to hit Alteration 5 in the next couple of turns. I'll hit them in the next 3 or 4 turns. There's also a significant army of Atlanteans right here. I think they probably are going for the throne, but I don't know. They could be going for me. They could even potentially be going for Ulm, who has, I must say, significantly large armies. It says he's got 200 units there in Ulm, 120 over here in the Cradle of Life, 50, 50, and 50 approximately. So that's somewhere north of like 400 units. Now, admittedly, this army is almost entirely wolves, it looks like. So in terms of actual combat units, we're probably looking at more like 200, 250, something like that. But he certainly outnumbers me a lot. My armies are relatively small and elite comparatively. I've got about 50 there, 20 there, 20 over here. So I've got about 100 units all told. He outnumbers me probably 2 to 1 or so, which is appropriate given the comparative gold costs of my cavalry to his infantry. But in any case, that's all just kind of rambling. Right now, I kind of want Le Gong to be ready to support this attack here. So, it's a hard decision to make. I'll tell you what, actually. I'm getting all these guys to join Ford Prefect's troops. We're going to put all his sacreds up there. These 15 will go to Celerim, and Celerim will move that way. So, Yiti and Celerim will converge here. They'll have almost 40 cavalry. That'll be enough to clear off those trolls in conjunction with a couple of mages and the people inside. And we'll use that to drive the trolls off, while Le Gong and Ford Prefect here lead the charge against Midgard. We should be able to storm in and take probably at least these 2, hopefully more provinces right away. Now, it is going to be winter when we do this, so we're going to have 1 attack going from Strongdale, so I don't cross mountains, because I can't cross those right now since it's cold, and 1 going from Northia into Wick, and then we'll have to branch out there, take these provinces. Like I said before, we're not going to aim to besiege siege down Midgard right at the start, because we won't have the troops, the numbers to fight the Einheirs. Although, we are going to have a number of Earth Mages, since I'm pumping out the Ancestor Smiths. So, if we can just get Alteration 5 as quickly as possible. Alteration 5 is really where I want to launch this attack. Ideally, I launch this attack the turn after I get Alteration 5, because that'll give me the Iron Warriors, Maws, and Wooden Warriors. It would also give me Moke, but I don't have the paths on my god to cast Moke. What I can do, actually, is, as silly as this may be, I could potentially drop Call of the Winds on one of Midgard's provinces in an effort to either take the province or kill one of his Galdermen. Call of the Winds is decent at sniping single mages, and it looks like he has not put a lot of province defense on his provinces. As I think I've mentioned before, normally you put in 6, which is the minimum amount to show the next message up. But his provinces are only showing 1 officer and a few loyal henchmen, which makes me think he may be gambling on only having one province defense. And if he only has one province defense, then a single casting of Hall of the Wind can potentially take the province away. So yeah, I think I'll back up my initial strike by dropping Call of the Winds on at least on one of these provinces over here. Maybe even two. I mean, it only takes, what? Yeah, it only takes Air 2, so I actually have other mages who can cast that. Shun can cast that. Yeah. So I may drop birds on both of these provinces and see if we can get lucky and ace 2 Galderman right off the bat. That would be nice. So, there's the plan. That's the turn. I'll see y'all in turn 19. No global enchantments yet. The Hall of Fame is unexceptional. Ford Prefect is in there. But he is secondary to this Black Servant who has heroic quickness and 11 kills, which is weird. I think he must be a mercenary. And there's Terminus, of course, who is an assassin. So, yep. Doing good. Doing tasty. See y'all in turn 19. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so the attack against Midgard has begun. We rolled into Wick. We took Wick with basically no resistance. Not a problem there. We've also got Ford Prefect and his mages and such set up down here. Now, there is a pretty significant Midgardian army of Einherrs and Galdermen facing me on this side. I think they're moving to kind of block off this attack or any movement inwards by man. Midgard is under pressure now by Patala and Satis, as well as Agartha. Of course, we can see here in Kunal, there was a battle where an Agarthan Black Servant, actually, attacked Midgard. What was he carrying? Oh, this is that Black Servant that won the arena. So he has heroic quickness and the Champion's Trident, which gives him quickness, which, if I recall, stacks, and he gets 2 attacks base. So his... yeah, he's at plus 181% speed, which means he's gonna get, like, for more than 5 and less than 6 attacks per round. So he's actually kind of fucking scary, especially since he's ethereal and prot 20. Now, however, the luck, unfortunately, is wasted on him because he is undead, and luck does not provide any benefits for the undead. But look at this guy. Yikes. That's actually kind of cool, I'll be honest. I like that. So, this army is moving up to Lupia. We're going to take that. If these troops move to intercept me, I think I can beat them. There's not that many of them. I can drop Wind Guide for my archers and then Mist Form on Panalong to keep him alive. We've got Sungzi and Yang Jin dropping spells on my cavalry to protect them. Help keep them, you know, active. We'll have the archers firing, and then, of course, the cavalry will charge around the flanks, so I think we can win against 30 units. This army with 70 units, I'm not sure that this army could necessarily win against them if we attacked. So what I'm doing is, I'm moving in more troops with Wen Chang here, and then, actually, I should also move you in, and you should be casting Body Ethereal a whole bunch. You guys will be on hold and fire. And so the way this is going to work is, we've got little archer units that will be either off to the side or in the middle here, and we've got mages. You guys will be you'll be dropping buffs. And all the rest of our mages are calling Ancestor. So they can only get 1 per turn, but they can spam the hell out of this spell because it only takes 20 fatigue. It'll summon little dinky ethereal boys. And then I will cast Divine Blessing twice. So 1 at round 3, 1 at round 5. So just about the time when the fighting starts, all of those spirits should be getting the Divine Blessing. That will give them Twist Fate and Thunder Weapons, which should enable them to do some damage against these Einherrs and Galdermen. Einherrs, of course, do not have magical weapons because they are not sacred. So that should hopefully be okay. And we'll have lots of composite bow fire. We'll have the howling bows, which do magic damage and cause fear. And we'll also have the thunder weapons effect. So we'll have that from some of our ancestor vessels. And once we shoot off our ammunition, which is 12, then these guys will charge into combat. Now, I may well lose some mages doing this. In fact, I think I'm going to put my mages further back so that the Einherrs will hopefully get pulled aside into fighting my cavalry before they get to the mages. And then, of course, they'll go off script and God knows what they'll do.
But we're just holding there for now, moving up there to take that province. But that's all I'm going to commit to this war. That and the productivity of this fort. Because I'm doing something a little dangerous, and this may backfire on me, but I'm going to document it just to see what happens. Atlantis, you see, made that deal with me where they passed through my lands to attack this throne. Well, they took a lot of casualties attacking the throne, it looks like. It looks like they lost more than half their army. It says they're down to about 80 units. Unfortunately, I didn't have a scout on the throne, so I didn't get to see the battle itself. That was a big misstep on my part. I should have just had one of these guys on the throne. But I've got about 50 cavalry here. So, I'm just gonna go in, to be honest. This guy was scheduled to be throwing body ethereals, but instead he's going to throw swarm. So we've got a whole bunch of swarms coming out from a couple of mages. All of my cavalry is in skirmish formation, and they're all just gonna fucking bonsai YOLO charge. The Ice Guard, I think he has too few Ice Guard left to stop me, especially since I'm split into 3 groups. They're set to attack rear, so they're gonna storm through, sweep around, start killing the crossbowmen, and hopefully get to the commanders post-haste. If I do this now, I don't think he can stop me. Now, this will probably start a war between Atlantis and me. I'm hopeful that I'll be able to, like, negotiate with him, but the problem here is, Atlantis has that throne, he's taken that throne, and I'm sure he also has this throne. So that's 3 out of the 5 that you need to win the whole game. There's another one right there that is easy access for Atlantis. Very short walk. I don't know where the other one would be. The 5th one. But that puts him, to my mind, unacceptably far ahead. So I'm not going to let him have this throne. Now, if he had won with no casualties, I would have been like, okay, fine. Fair play to you. As it is, I'm going to take this, or try to take this. If I fail, then I'm probably in a bad situation, and I'm going to have to scramble troops over there as fast as I can. I am sending over the troops that I've recruited in the last turn to Gol Amrod, and I'm still, of course, recruiting in Gol Amrod as well. I'm actually not recruiting a mage this turn so that I can get more horsemen. So I have a small second wave if I almost win, but not quite. We can cancel those guys, because nobody will be here to pick them up, hopefully. But, ultimately, it's just going to come down to, if I win, then I will contact Atlantis and send him his 50 gold back, and be like, well, you know, looking at the geopolitical situation, I didn't want to give you that extra throne. So why don't we make an agreement? I'll have this throne, you can have those other ones that you have, and we can remain friends. And I'll see if I can sell that. I may be able to sell that, I don't know. It will depend on how salty he feels about being attacked. If he takes it personally, then I'll end up in a war, but with a border this small, I think I can probably hold him off, maybe even push in. Now, me fighting Midgard is going to have to, my commitment against Midgard is going to have to be curtailed in light of that. But as long as I don't get any nasty surprises from someone else, I think I'll be alright. I know I have a non-aggression pact with Sack, so I'm in the clear on my north and south borders, which is good. Although I will have to deal with that situation soonish at some point here. He's got a lot of troops, and we have a big old border, so first strike advantage is huge in this situation. Because I could potentially, like, either of us could potentially clear out, like, a whole lot of provinces on the very first round if we went to war all of a sudden. But I think overall I'm in an acceptable position. In terms of research, I'm about to hit Alteration level 5, and then we're going to start going down Conjuration again. We'll get down to level 7, where we have Wrath of the Ancestors. I would also like to get some Construction and Enchantment. So I may hit level 5 and then reevaluate. But in any case, thanks for watching. That's turn 21. Turn 21 already. Wow, time flies. And I'll see you all in turn 22.